Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. Just read a rather interesting article on World Net Daily. You're not going to have to look for it, the link will be attached. The title is Admirals, Generals, Intel, Benghazi Inquest Compromised. And as most people that have their ear to the ground knew, the speaker, John Boehner, after having his arm twisted for an extended period of time, finally agreed to the formation of a special committee. And that special committee was to be headed and has been headed up by Congressman Trey Gowdy out of South Carolina. Many people that were close to the issue were very excited having Trey Gowdy head up this special committee. And this special committee has been sort of dragging its feet for months on end. We had expected to have some kind of resolution a long time ago, but nothing's come forward. You want to read this entire article. It spins a rather interesting web. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, specifically MOV 01868, you'll get an idea as to what I believe happened and why I believe it happened. This was just prior to the 2012 election. And the idea here was to give Obama a real big pat on the back. He would have been, once again, a hero with the American people if, in fact, he could have arranged for the safe return of Ambassador Chris Stevens. He also would have been a hero with the Muslim Brotherhood if he could have returned the blind sheik. And again, the plan was to kidnap the ambassador and allow the chosen one to trade him for the blind sheik. Please take the time, watch and listen. MOV 01868. The article is most interesting, and there's one area that I want to sort of highlight. And what it says is that the gentleman that ran the first committee, and the first committee was run by Representative Mike Rogers. He's a Republican, and there's an interesting little twist with his wife and contracts to protect the embassies and the facilities that were arranged to have his wife win those contracts. It says, fueling a suspicion of various Citizens Commission members was the severely criticized unanimous report on Benghazi issued on November by Representative Mike Rogers, Republican Michigan, as chairman of the Republican-led House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. The report found, quote, no evidence to support allegations the Obama administration blocked attempts to send rescue operations to Benghazi during the assault or sought to mislead the public afterwards. Well, then someone needs to explain to me a couple of important issues. If, in fact, the administration didn't block attempts to send a rescue mission, why wasn't one sent? And it says, during the assault, or sought to mislead the public afterwards. Well, if they didn't look to mislead the public afterwards, why did we see Hillary Rodham Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama in the Rose Garden blaming what transpired at Benghazi? On who? Well, they blamed it on some movie producer in California that made a video that insulted the Prophet Muhammad. And then they had Susan Rice spend the next week going to high-level media outlets preaching the same thing. We also know that there were 34 survivors from Benghazi. How come many of them have been put in, or all of them have been put into witness protection programs? You'd have to be an idiot not to see that this administration orchestrated what took place at Benghazi. When Obama went after Gaddafi, he did it without congressional approval. And Gaddafi had massive amounts of military ordnance. And Christopher Stevens, the ambassador, was there to arrange to have those weapons transferred into Turkey. Turkey is not a friend of America. Their president is a friend of Barack Hussein Obama, but not a friend of America. Many of those weapons that were transferred ended up in al-Qaeda's hands in Syria. Obama has always had a burning desire to get rid of the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. And he thought that he could arrange to do that by supplying weapons to al-Qaeda. Well, al-Qaeda is also the enemies of America, but that's a different story. I don't think we'll ever learn the truth. I'm absolutely convinced that Trey Gowdy was compromised a long time ago. Otherwise, we would have learned the truth a long time ago. Please take the time and listen to what I said over 2 years ago on MOV 01868. That is what I believe happened in Benghazi, Libya. You also have to take a look at Leon Panetta, who was the Secretary of Defense, and General Dempsey. At 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, when the battles took place, or were taking place in Benghazi, Libya, they informed Barack Hussein Obama. He never asked another question. He never called him asking for an update. The two of them, according to the testimony given by Leon Panetta, was that they both then went to the Pentagon. They were later asked, did you inform the Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton, since the ambassador worked directly for her? The response was no. And once again, Obama never asked another question. He saw his plan vaporize in front of his eyes. And what did we see the next day? Well, we saw Obama bouncing around on a runway, on a stage in Las Vegas, Nevada, cheery-eyed, his sleeves rolled up, collecting money for his presidential campaign. You have to ask yourself a question. How could he have even slept the night before, knowing what took place with the slaughter of Smith, Stevens, Woods, and Doherty? It takes an evil mind to be able to close your eyes and drift off to sleep, knowing what he knew. He meaning Barack Hussein Obama. Read the entire article. You're going to find it most interesting. And unfortunately, the American people will continue to get duped. The evidence can't prove what it has proved, that the administration lied. The research that I've done, and it would be beneficial if some high-ranking military official might verify this, the only one that can give a stand-down order in a foreign country is the President of the United States. What more needs to be said? Read the article. I've read it about 3 times. You might want to try to absorb it. Again, I think Trey Gowdy has been told. The article also says that it's possible that someone above the speaker, John Boehner, who by the way is complicit in all of this as well, but someone above the speaker, John Boehner, had told Doherty to back off. I'm only telling you what it says. Read it. Decide for yourself. Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods were told to back off. Again, only the President of the United States can issue that order. So if he didn't, who did? Interesting question, is it not? They can't admit to the truth. They can't admit what really happened and why it really happened. Obama's entire administration would unravel. As it should. But sadly, it won't. Trey Gowdy is going to come to the same conclusion as Mike Rogers. It'll all be swept under the rug, no different than all of the other countless scandals. Does that give you a nice, warm, comfortable feeling that our government is looking after us or continuing to screw us? It's one or the other. Which one do you think it is? I told you which one I think it is. Read the article. Let me know what conclusion you've come to.